Alright, lassies, it's time for another DLC review with XepherGames. Let's get to it. Wow, this is really weird mix between like a bro accent and a Scottish kind of thing, it's kind of weird. I'm not really sure where that came from. Intro time, maybe?
It's time.
So today, my long hair and I will be bringing you a special look at the Fire Emblem DLC Challenge Pack. All three of them, get an in-depth look, sort of, because we can't do video of it because my freaking camera sucks. But we will be looking at what aspects of it make it unique, make it worth buying, and whether or not you should really purchase it in the end, depending on the price point. So the first map is called Death's Embrace, and it's like this spiky death pit land of doom. It's seriously, like, when I first looked at this map, I was like, no! Basically, it's a giant, like, test chamber kind of thing. Don't start going Portal on me. Giant test chamber where there's all these spikes across the floor. And at the beginning of your turn, if you start on one of the spike spaces, your HP is reduced to 1. Now, they do have some of the opposite spaces where, like, if you stay on the space at the beginning of your turn, all your HP will be restored, but it's only one particular place in the map, and it's important to stand there and, regenerate health and stuff, but it's not nearly as helpful as you might think. Now, that plus a time limit of 10 rounds, well, it's not technically a limit, but if you want to get the good ending, or basically get the special item at the end, you have to get within 10 turns. So that means kind of rushing down through this map like crazy, and it, above all other maps, makes Gale Force an essential skill. Now, I say that and I immediately realize that the next map I'll be talking about has an even greater use for Gale Force, but still, this one is really, really important to have a bunch of units with Gale Force on it. Now, it's really difficult, and there's really no redeeming value. That's kind of the theme with all three of these maps. It's really, really, really hard, and that's about it. Now there are a few good things. I'll admit there are the fact that and you might consider the difficulty itself to be a really good thing. I did, but some people wouldn't, because it's a challenge after you beat the main game. But there are a few other benefits that can be conferred as well. First of all, there is a character you unlock for beating it. The DLC characters for the three maps are in order: Est, Katria, and Paula. And if you've played Shadow Dragon, you should know that these are the three Pegasus Knight sisters. They are pretty good, and they all come at level 20 with a good assortment of skills. Some of them with even skills that would be really hard for them to, if not impossible, for them to learn naturally. Like, Paula has freaking Counter. That's a male-only skill. What is going on here? Who cares? It's awesome. Anyway, so in addition to the three Pegasus Knight sisters, who are all pretty decent, by the way, you have to actually get the perfect score. You can't let any of the Annas die. You have to get to the bad guy on the first map in 10 turns. And it's just like, you have to go through all the hoops just to get these characters. Now, there are a few other bonuses, such as the fact that the challenge is there. It's a really difficult map. Challenge, extra characters, and lastly, the last big addition to it is these three maps are set in the style of the Golden Gaff pack. So when you enter a combat with any of the generic enemies, for the first time, one of your characters will have a special conversation. Well, usually it's just a monologue, but with the enemy, and they'll say something interesting about their backstory or something like that, something entertaining, and I really do appreciate them. They're some of my favorite, like, little conversation things in the whole game, so that does have something going for it. Now, as I said, the first map is really difficult. It's punishingly hard. It has some cool music and a cool boss at the end, but ultimately the boss isn't anything that difficult, because honestly, it's basically just a slightly tougher version than most of the enemies you've been fighting. It's just kind of scary looking, which is pretty awesome, but he's freaking crazy. So, the second map you play is a weird mission where you have to save, like, rescue 5 Annas. It's called 5 Anna Rescue, not surprisingly. Anyway, this map is a little difficult, but if you have Gale Force, you should be able to beat it in one try. Like, if you have a lot of units with Gale Force, you can just kind of zip to the other end of the map and kill the bad guys. Not a big deal. But One thing that does make it difficult is you can't use the rescue staff on the Annas, which is really annoying. Is because I haven't mentioned it to you guys yet. Rescue staves are some of the best items in this game. I probably never mentioned that before, but they're really good. Like I've used them a lot in this game, and I've like never used them much in a Fire Emblem game before. But they're really good in this game, especially because you have an unlimited amount of them. You don't feel like you're wasting them. So this map can be tricky, but it's usually just a matter of killing all the enemies as fast as humanly possible. And you get Catria at the end if you save all 5 Annas. Now, the last map is called Roster Rescue. Now, this one was weird and really funny. This was a really funny map because they had you trying to get back your roster, and by that they mean that weird little list that you can look at in the barracks. You can click on roster. Oh my gosh, the camera's getting jerked. Earthquake! Basically, what I was trying to say was that the roster is that weird little book that you can look at that tells you all the personal information on the characters, their birthdays, a little tidbit about them, so on and so forth. Now, this information really isn't that important, but everyone in the game makes a huge deal of it. You have to go save it and whatever. But the stuff they say in the pre-battle conversations with the Risen and other enemies is hilarious. They're giving away all their secrets, like, oh no, did they tell them about this and that? And oh my goodness, Jerome's hairline is receding. It was really funny. One weird thing about this level is that if you try to do it with Inigo, Olivia's son, it'll glitch. Like, you'll see his entire character sprite instead of just his face, and nothing. There's just a text box will just glitch out. You can just go through it, and just nothing will be wrong. Your game's not broken or anything, but it's really weird, and you can't really see what he's saying unless you get into another text box, and then you press the R button, which would be over here for you. Over here. You press the R button to view past conversations, and you go up and see what he'd say. I haven't actually done this yet because I'm lazy, but anyway. This was one of my favorite levels just because it was funny. It was really funny, but otherwise, but it can be a little difficult because of the weird random nature of everything. But again, if you have Gale Force, it's easy. Like most of these levels present some kind of new and interesting challenge, but it's kind of cheapened, almost cheapened by the fact that you have Gale Force, and it kind of breaks the game, honestly. Like it makes all these challenging levels not so much challenging as long. I mean, they're not easy per se, but unless you're trying to challenge yourself by using not your best characters, which I did, but it wasn't that hard, unfortunately. And I think most things at this point in Fire Emblem are going to be pretty easy when you have a team full of limit broken, stat cap characters. I mean, yeah. So let me condense this all with giving you my overall rating, which is a whopping meh. It's not bad at all. I actually did enjoy the challenge pack. And if you're like me, you're looking for ways to, challenge yourself after the end of the game. This was a great way to do it. Now, I still don't think it was quite as difficult as the last Rogues and Redeemers map, which really annoys me because I need more limit breakers. I don't feel like playing through it over and over and over and over and over again. Anyway, but other than the challenge and the pre-battle conversations, which I absolutely love because they give insights into characters and crap, and I freaking love it. But other than those two things, there's not much to go on here. Like, the battles don't give you extra experience, extra gold, extra items, and which other DLC has pre-battle conversations and does all of those things? Golden Gaff. Golden Gaff is an amazing buy compared to this one because he does all the same things as this one, except it's not as hard and it gives you a ton of awesome stuff. Now, this one, you do get the Pegasus Knight Sisters, I guess, which is a nice bonus, especially if like one of them is your waifu, but I don't think that's going to happen very often because they don't say anything in their games, and it's kind of hard to, have a waifu for that. I'm going to stop acknowledging the fact that I know what a waifu is, so let's move on now. Seriously, please. Anyway, overall though, yeah, the pack just didn't have anything spectacular jumping out at me that made me go, wow, I have to recommend this to everyone. No, it was just kind of like, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but if you're not looking for a really tough challenge and a couple of funny extra conversations, skip it. If you're really just looking for the conversations, just wait a second. Like the Summer of Bonds, Spa of Bonds, and all that crap is coming out in like a week or so if it hasn't already. So like you're gonna be getting plenty of funny conversations and other fan service in the coming weeks. So just seriously, hold off until that one. Until then, guys, I will see you next time. We're going to be doing some more character guides soon, and of course, keep on with that bot and Kaitos. We're gonna keep on trying to do that. Yeah, we're gonna finish that game eventually. God dang it, if it isn't long though. I bet we're gonna get up to at least 100 episodes. Just you wait. See you guys next time.